It's not about I win, you lose. It's about us winning together. This isn't a me versus you. This is an us versus the world kind of situation, no matter what the situation is. And so figuring out how to find that agreement is crucial.
If you lose, we lose. If we're on the same team, and if we're on the same team, if one of us suffers a loss, we both lose.
Right.
Hey, welcome back to the Greater Marriage Podcast. Man, if you're new around here, we're so glad that you're here. If you've been around for a little while, you already know what it is. We have created this space for single people who are hopeful, married people who are hopeless, and everything in between. It is our desire that you simply make your marriage greater every single day, and that we can help you do that. Every week, we release a podcast on Tuesdays, just talking about the Lord's vision for marriage, how we can communicate better, how we can handle our finances better, how we can have better vision for our marriages, anything and everything pertaining to life and godliness and relationships and family is what we try to cover here. So again, we're so glad that you're here with us today.
Yeah. Well, and today, we know that most marriages don't fall apart. They don't erode because there's a lack of love. More times than not, we see this erosion happen because there are repeated patterns of unhealthy communication. And this is one of those things that I honestly feel like we could talk about week after week, because no matter what the issue is on the surface, so much of that comes down to a foundation of communication, whether it's healthy or whether it's unhealthy. And so we know that words in marriage either draw us closer together or they push us away. And so today I want to talk about that. It seems, like something that is just elementary, but really, like, if you ask people what one of their biggest hangups are in marriage, overwhelming responses say communication. And so this is an area that needs constant refining. And no matter how much work you put in to be better at communicating, there's always room to be even better than that. And so go ahead.
Well, and I think that one can feel like the other. You said that, like, it's not a lack of love, it's a lack of good communication. I think that our bad communication can feel like a lack of love.
Totally.
The way that we communicate with one another. You and I got into it last night over just the way we were talking to one another. We were both frustrated. We got kids running around everywhere. It's a 4-day weekend. It's like we're all tired, and we had basketball games and an 8 p.m. game this week for 10-year-olds, and it's like we're just crazy busy. And I popped off at you snapped back at me, and it's like, then we're in this argument. It's like, hang on, I think we just talked to each other wrong. I think I just said that wrong. My bad. It's like, I don't think we're actually mad at each other. I don't think there's actually some big catastrophic event that's happening right now. I don't think that we hate each other. I think I'm tired and I'm upset, and I said that weird, and that set you off, and my bad.
Isn't that funny, though, that like on the heels of, a podcast about communication that we just finished writing, that we go at it.
No doubt. Come on. That's just the way it goes, y'all. Like, hey, if you guys want to work on your marriage, start a marriage podcast. That's the best way to do it. The best way to figure out where you suck at marriage is just to start talking about marriage. And then it's like, hang on, I think we suck at that then. I think we could work on that. And then you write podcasts to help you. And that's great. That's what's great about it. And honestly, this first point that we had today, we're going to get into in just a moment. But the first point probably kind of stabs me in the heart a little bit and speaks to me a little bit. So we'll get there. But
okay.
I think if you look into like the most Googled questions about marriage, it's all communication. Top 5 are all communication at the very least.
Yeah.
People, we allow daily struggles, we allow work, we allow kids, we allow money, we allow everything to affect our mood. Our mood affects our heart affects our communication, right? The abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so the things that begin to affect our heart, whenever your spouse is the most prevalent relationship in your life, and they're the person that you communicate with the most, but your heart is the thing that's communicating. And so whenever your heart's affected by everything in the world, it feels like all of that weight is carried by your spouse. And it feels like all of that stress and all of that tension comes down to your spouse. And sometimes we communicate it that way. And maybe it doesn't feel like that to you. Like maybe you realize, oh, my spouse isn't the source of my issues, all my issues, but maybe some of them, maybe some of the communication part. But when it comes down to it, it's like, no, I just communicate it like that. And maybe your spouse feels that way. They feel like, man, I'm the blunt end of everything they have to say, or I'm, like, why is
You're
it?
saying that with a lot of passion over there.
No, this is, I'm serious, because we do this to one another, right? And we see couples do this to each other all the time, where it feels like your spouse is the issue when your spouse isn't the issue. It feels like, in the way you communicates to your spouse is the issue when they're not really the issue.
Right.
I think that if we can learn how to communicate with one another, again, that we titled this "How to Fix Your Communication Without Getting into Another Fight." Working on communication doesn't necessarily mean that you have to fight.
Right.
And learning how to communicate to one another doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be in these big arguments to figure that out, right?
Yeah.
You can learn how to communicate well in small moments and in still moments, not just in like raging moments of like, oh, we're about to fight, let's handle this well. It's like, no, let's figure it out before we get there.
Yeah.
Right?
And we're not talking about personality differences or communication hacks. Like, today, we're going to talk about biblical principles that we can apply to our marriage that we will see the fruit from. When we put these biblical principles into practice, the fruit is undeniable on the other side because it's rooted in the word. So this first one that you already hinted out a little bit, first point is your mouth reveals your maturity.
Say it again.
Your mouth reveals your maturity. It says in Luke 6:45, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. You referenced that verse already. And, if our communication is defensive or sarcastic or, anything like that, that's revealing something deeper. That's revealing a heart issue. And I jokingly say, if you're sarcastic about something, or you're joking about something repeatedly, I know there's a root issue there. Yeah. Because that can be, I've just learned over the years, that can kind of be a go-to defense mechanism for you. And it's like, okay, hang on. Like, you're joking a lot about this thing here. So like, it actually really bothers you. What's going on here? Yeah. But it, just that saying of your mouth revealing your maturity, that can sting a little bit sometimes, but it really does reveal the heart and what we're carrying with us, whether we realize it or not.
Yeah, I think at the beginning of a relationship, you would struggle with like just kind of getting after it. You know what I mean? Like saying something sharp or...
Still struggle.
Like going from 0 to 100, like something happens and you're just like, you know what? And it's like, oh, here we go. And I thought I was the better communicator because I could stay calm under pressure. But... that's not true, because even in my, like, maybe I wasn't raising my voice, maybe my tone was, not as sharp, or my words weren't as sharp, but I was sarcastic and cutting, and I would still use my words to offend you and take stabs at you and like win the argument in my own way. I wouldn't snap and be sharp. And I think that those are two different ways that our mouth reveals our maturity. Sometimes... some of you listening to this may be the one that just kind of pops off and you may need just a minute to cool down. The other one of you may be like, no, I'm pretty calm, cool, and collected. Like, we can talk about this right now, but you're going to get sarcastic and you're going to cut and you're going to use your words to kind of bury the other person. And I think that that's where you and I were, where it's like, I would bury you with my words and be totally calm and smiling the whole time. And you're like, that feels a little dark. Like, you need to chill out. Like, is that really how you feel? And you would get upset and get angry and, like raise your voice. And it's like, whoa, like, you need to get all upset, chill out. And it's like, hang on, neither of us are right.
Right.
Neither of us are handling this the right way. You need a moment. I need a moment to get my heart right, to make sure that I'm not being sharp and sarcastic and that I can like diagnose the issue and try to get to the root cause. And if we will do that, then when our hearts are settled and in a good place, we both communicate better, right? We both, of course, we want to forgive. Of course, we want to apologize for whatever we did wrong. Like we want to come to a place of agreement, but in the moment, it's hard to get there.
Yeah. Man, I would love to just be a fly on the wall our first year of marriage. Listen to some
I was
of those
there.
fights.
I don't need to be a fly on the wall. I was there, and I remember it all.
I mean, now to like have like, like DVR, stop, rewind, go back and play some of those back because
Look how far we've come.
they were ugly. They're still ugly sometimes, but they're different. They're a little less ugly,
They're much less ugly, and they're much like if our arguments get ugly, if our arguments get whatever heated or whatever, like I feel like we have learned a lot of these things in order to cool it down quickly, forgive quickly, and get past it quickly. It's not to say that we don't have big fights. It's not to say that we don't have heated arguments. It's not to say that this isn't something that we work on every single day. But I do feel like the more you work on it, the shorter the fights become, the shorter the quicker the tension releases, the quicker you're able to forgive, the quicker you're able to get past it. What may have been a 2-hour discussion last night was 10 minutes, 20 minutes. You know what I mean? It was like us discussing it, taking a breather. Hey, my bad. I see what you see. I see that you saw my perspective too. Like, I think we're good. I don't think it was you and I hating each other. I think it was just that upset me, this upset you. We're good.
Yeah.
We're good, And so if you can get to that place faster, again, this isn't going to solve every single issue, but if you can take into account, hang on, what am I saying right now? What is leaving my mouth right now? And am I maturing, not just as an adult, but as a husband and as a wife? Am I maturing as a father and a mother? Am I maturing as a son of God? Like, is the meditation of my heart, right, and what I'm speaking out, is it glorifying God? Is it honoring Him? Is it glorifying and honoring my marriage and my spouse or my kids? Because that matters.
Yeah. Well, and this is something that's applicable, of course, in marriage, but also just in other relationships. I think parallel to your mouth revealing your maturity, you could also say that your mouth reveals your heart. Because how many times have we been in, heated discussions with each other or a coworker, someone else, and it's like something is said and then later it's like, well, I didn't mean that, I didn't mean that. And, people can say like, oh, they were just tired. They were just hungry, whatever it is. But sure, I think those things can maybe amplify the response. But if the response came out, it's because that is the root issue. Like there is something else deep-seated in the heart. And so until the heart changes, the mouth isn't going to change.
Yeah.
And so I think even for ourselves to just use that as self-reflection, it's like if I say something, and I pop off, it's like, all right, there's something there. Like, why did that tick me off so bad? Why, like, was there something else that happened that led up to that? Is there another piece of the conversation that needs to be had because I'm just, pushing something down that I don't want to have a conversation about? Like, it's going to come out. Whatever we try to suppress in our heart in one way or another, it's going to come out at some point. And so the quicker we can recognize that, dig up that root and deal with the true root issue, the better our communication is going to be all around moving forward.
Yeah, we've used the phrase before, your secrets make you sick, right? And so a secret may not be something you're keeping from someone else. It may be something you're not addressing in yourself.
Right.
And so whatever you're not, it may not even be your spouse. It may be like, oh my gosh, I said that to you, but I meant that for my coworker because my heart is heavy. I said that for you, but I meant that for my boss. I meant that for my parents. I meant that for my in-laws. Like, it's like whatever it was like, my gosh, I took that out on you and you didn't deserve that because you were not the root of that thing.
But sometimes we don't even realize that.
You're right.
We don't realize that we're projecting on one person a pent-up feeling that we have toward another situation or another person.
Yeah, we have to, and again, I've said this before, we have to pray for discernment in marriage. Discernment is one of the most practical tools that the Lord has given us in our marriage to discern. Solomon asked for the ability to know right from wrong. And that's discernment, understanding what is right and what is wrong. He has for an understanding heart to lead people well and the ability to know right from wrong. And so if we can look at a situation and know, hang on, like I understand here why I did that. I understand why you did that, why you said that. That matters. right? And that is something that we have prayed for. And even if your heart is hard, even if your heart is hurting, David cried out, create in me a clean heart, O Lord, and renew a steadfast spirit in me. Like David was constantly crying out to God, saying, God, examine my heart, point out anything that offends you, show me where I'm wrong. And the Lord will do that. And then if you can say, God, okay, you're a God who makes things new. You're a healer. You're not a fixer. So heal my heart.
Yeah, that's good.
But heal it and make it new. Create in me a clean heart, a new heart, and renew a steadfast spirit in me where I can stand strong and I can move forward and I can continue to go. Like the Lord wants that for you. He wants that for your marriage. And so if your mouth is revealing your maturity and your mouth is revealing your heart, pray for God to renew your heart. It's not just about the way you speak. If you renew your heart, the way you speak will begin to change.
That's so good.
Right? We have to be able to do that.
All right, let's jump into the next point. Being right is not the same as being righteous.
That's good. Yeah, being right is not the same as being righteous. Some of us get into arguments and we just need to feel right even if we're wrong. We want to win the battle, but we may end up losing the war because of it.
Admittedly, that is an area I struggle with. I am a justice, right and wrong personality. And so my flesh very quickly wants to just be justified. And that's wrong. That's wrong. It's not about I win, you lose. Coming, like the point of arguing is agreement. And so it's about us winning together. This isn't a me versus you. This is an us versus the world kind of situation, no matter what the situation is. And so figuring out how to find that agreement is crucial.
Yeah, we've talked about this. Like, if you lose, we lose. If we're on the same team, and if we're on the same team, if one of us suffers a loss, we both lose.
Right.
And so, like, I don't want you to lose because I want us to win. I want us to be overcomers. And so I want to make sure that I don't feel righteous. I don't feel like, whatever, some sort of value in winning conversations. That's not where my value is found. And my value is found in being a son of God. And part of that is being a great husband. And so I would rather be a great husband than to have the winning argument. And so men and ladies, if we can be a great spouse and look at every situation like that, like how do we win in this situation? How in this argument, disagreement, whatever we're getting into, this head-on collision of communication, how do we win? How do I position us to win in this situation? I may feel like I'm right, but I want to make sure that the way I communicate that is with clarity and I speak the truth in love, not just to topple your argument, right? The number one way to shut down your spouse is to think of your response as they're talking, is to shut them out, not listen to them because you're already thinking of what you're going to say back. We want to receive what they have to say and respond to what they have to say, not just like clap back, not just try to, like I said, topple their argument. Like, we want to make sure that we are communicating clearly.
Man, that's such a big mindset shift because it's very counter flesh to try and think about in an argument how we win. And so any practical advice that you would give to our listeners, how to do that, how to kind of change that thinking from like, I'm mad at you, you did this, to we are a team. How do we handle this together? How do we both win?
Yeah. Word of God says that the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God. It's our goal to be righteous, right? To be in right standing with God, to do the right thing. I know my anger does not produce that. I know that me being upset about a situation does not produce that. So I have to calm myself down first. Like, I've got to get a grip on my emotions. I've got to get a grip on my heart. And I've got to worry about me so that I can worry about us. Because I can't get to not being upset with you if I don't focus on me first. And that sounds selfish, but let me explain. The first thing I do when we're upset with one another, and this is a learned trait. This has taken me years and years and years to get to, and I'm not always great at it. But the first thing I try to do whenever I'm upset with you or we're in an argument is say, God, forgive me. I'll pray in the Spirit for a minute, and I'll say, God, forgive me, first of all. I'm human, and there's probably something I'm not seeing here right. And I probably didn't communicate that super well. So help me to see Heather the way that you see her. I forgive her. whatever it is. We haven't resolved it yet, but I forgive her. Forgive me, God. Point out anything in me that offends you. And just allow me to come into this conversation calm and allow me to communicate clearly. Like, I just simply ask the Holy Spirit to help me. He is our helper. That is who he is. He is our comforter. So if I can find comfort in that moment where I'm heated and I'm upset, that helps ground me so that I can have a conversation and not just be hot-headed. Because I've got to, I don't want to say every man, but a lot of men deal with having a temper, right? I got a temper. And so, again, a lot of times that comes out in sharp words and sarcasm. But if we can just ground ourselves in the word and just say, God, I know that my wrath doesn't produce your righteousness. I want to be righteous. I want to be in right standing with you. I want to handle I want to manage my relationship extremely well. I want to speak lovingly to my wife. I always go back to Hosea 2. Like, I'll lead her out into the desert and speak tenderly to her there. This is God speaking about a wife that had been unfaithful to him. He is angry. God is angry at his wife. But he says, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take her away from the noise. I'm going to be kind. And that's what I want to do in every situation. So remember that. Remember how much God has forgiven you. Remember how much he loves you. And show that kind of love to your spouse. Just say, you know what? I'm not going to be the one to pry in this situation. I'm not going to be the one to stoke this fire.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it out.
Yeah.
I'm going to communicate with love. And to do that, I've got to ask for forgiveness. I've got to extend forgiveness. I've got to get my heart right. And then I'm going to walk into this conversation with cooler heads and communicate effectively.
Yeah. You're really great at that.
I tried very hard at it. No, I was great at it. But it is something that, it was a lifeline for us, right? Because every conversation would turn into a fight. And so it became a lifeline where I was like, all right, we've got to fix this. And if I'm going to do, the Word of God says, if it's possible, as much as it depends on you, live in peace with all men. I tried to apply that. It's like, is it possible for us to have peace in this situation? Sure. All right, then, as much as it depends on me, I've got to go find peace. So what depends on me? My attitude depends on me. My temper depends on me. The way I respond to you depends on me. My words reflect my maturity. So if my mouth is going to show that, then I've got to make sure that my words are kind and loving and clear and concise. And I've got to position myself to create as much peace in our relationship as I can in hopes that you will do the same. And you have. And so it's like, as we fight for one another, I think it creates that bond of peace between us, right? Unity in the Spirit creates a bond of peace. And so as we try to find unity, it creates a bond of peace and it brings peace to our marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. And you doing that changed everything in our marriage. And so if you're listening and this is an area that you struggle with, man, be the one who paves the way in your marriage. Set that example for your spouse, because if you're praying for your heart, you're praying for their heart. The Lord is faithful. And he's going to do a work in your marriage, and you will get to a point that communication isn't always the sore spot, that every single disagreement doesn't become a blow up. We can attest to that. We are there, and that is because you chose to pave the way in that. So thank you for that. Okay, last point. Let's jump in here. You are either pulling them closer or you are pushing them away. Ephesians 4:29 says, don't use foul or abusive language. I think that it kind of goes without saying. Sure. Also, though, let everything you say be good and helpful so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. Man, is that at the forefront of our minds when we are in an argument with our spouse? Let everything I say be good and helpful, and my words be an encouragement to my spouse. Absolutely. Probably not. Definitely not.
For sure, no.
But that should be the way that we are trying to frame things. And okay, let's be real here. That's not the first thing that we think of. And so what do we need to do? And again, different personalities may need a different approach here. For my personality, I need a minute. I need a minute to kind of sit back and process and get my temper in check before we have that conversation. Maybe you need to seek the Lord, and pray and ask him to reveal, different personalities I think can approach this differently, but we all need to come to that place of, okay, this conversation needs to be helpful, not detrimental to our marriage.
Your words matter most, but your tone and your body matter, and your body language matter a lot. a lot. And, we say, I say all the time, like, hey, babe, is that what you said? It's how you said it. That's exactly what happened last night. We got out of the car. I'm like, hey, you want this water? In my head, I'm like, hey, babe, could I take this water for you? Or would you rather me leave it in the car? You heard like, hey, your hands are full. You can take this water too or not? And he was like, hang on. Neither. I didn't say it that way. And what you heard isn't how I said it either. But you know what I mean? It's like the way I said it wasn't what I said. It was the way I said it. It was the way you interpret it. And then that turns into like
whoa, bro, back off.
Yourself, and then it's like, and then I snap back. It's like just a dumb thing that happens, and it's like, man, the way we communicate isn't just about the words that you use. It's the tone that you use. It's your body language when your spouse is talking to you. When your spouse begins to bring something up, does your body language say, "Let's go, we're on the same team, let's figure this out," or does it say like, "Oh, great, here we go again"? Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? It's like everything about the way you communicate with one another, the way like your eyes communicate, your body communicates, and your posture in those conversations communicate something. And so what are you communicating? What is your tone? What is your body language? And what are your words communicating to your spouse?
Well, and you might say like, well, I don't yell. I'm not one who raises my voice. I'm not one who yells. So I don't push them away. But do you roll your eyes? Are you sarcastic? Do you interrupt your spouse? Do you go silent on them? Those are all other ways that you can create distance in the conversation. And so, yes, of course, we don't want to yell or use abusive or foul language, but there are so many more things that have to do with tone and body language that very much could create distance in the conversation.
Yeah, it's not just about what you don't do, right? Or, I'll say this simply. It's not just about the bad things you don't do. It's also about the good things you don't do.
Right.
You may say, well, I'm not abusive. Like, I don't cut you down. I don't scream at you. I don't raise my voice at you. And it's like, okay, but is every word you say an encouragement to those who hear them? Is it good? Is it helpful? Like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Is my sarcasm helpful? Is me being cutting helpful? Is me staying calm and saying the wrong thing in an easy tone helpful? No, I'm using the wrong words. You're using the wrong tone. And now we're in an argument. And it's like, hang on. We both have areas to improve. We're going to improve in different ways. We need to make sure that our conversations are life-giving. They're not just about solving issues. They're about shaping connection, coming together, and showing, hey, we are on the same team here. Even if we vehemently disagree, we can disagree and be on the same team. It's like, hey, I don't think that's how you said it. You think that's how you said it? I don't think it is. But I love you, and I want to get better at this. Next time, could you maybe say it this way? Like, because I don't want to snap at you, but the way you said that causes me to snap. And I'm going to work on me snapping back. If you'll just work on your tone, we'll meet in the middle and we'll both get better at it, and that won't happen.
Well, we have to make sure that whatever the argument is serves us. Right. It's like if we're going to have the hard conversation, if we're going to put in the work and figure out how to find agreement in an area, like we've got to make that thing serve us. And so whether it's not handling it the same way in the future or whether it's adjusting the way that we speak or the tone that we use, like it has to serve us, because the point isn't to just deal with it and still be here and keep cycling the same thing over and over. It's to deal with it, to move forward, take new ground, and not have to keep hitting our heads on the same thing over and over.
Yeah, your marriage has to be a safe place to communicate.
Totally.
And every response you give is communicating if this is a safe place or not, right? It's creating an atmosphere. And the way you respond to your spouse creates the atmosphere with which you communicate. And so if that atmosphere is hostile, if that atmosphere is eye rolling, if that atmosphere is like, oh, here we go again, or oh my gosh, I'm so sick of this, or oh, I hate it when we do this. It's like, that's not a place you want to walk into. If that atmosphere is, hey, I know if I'm going to bring this up, we're going to figure it out, then that becomes a place where you want to communicate and you want to fix issues. And so make sure that you're conscious of the atmosphere you're creating with your words, with your body language, with your tone, with your face. Right. I go back to, I remember in Bible school, I had a buddy walk up to me. We were in a service and he goes, hey, are you good? And I was like, yeah, bro, I'm good. And he goes, tell your face that. Like, fix your face. And I will never, I always go back to that because I'm like, yeah, if I'm going to, I need to tell my face I'm good. If I love my wife, I need to tell my face I love my wife. Like, when she's communicating with me, if I want to get to the bottom of this issue, I need to tell my face I want to get to the bottom of this issue, not just like, oh, I'm so sick of talking about this thing. It's like,
Yeah.
no, we want to figure it out. I want everything about the way I communicate to show that I want to figure it out.
Yeah, that's good. Well, hey, thanks for joining in with us today. I hope that you can find a nugget to apply. I know there were several things that we laid out that you could potentially apply to your marriage. Don't be overwhelmed by that. Take one of those. Start there. Maybe it's changing your body language. Maybe it's changing your tone. Maybe it's seeking the Lord first when your emotions rise. Maybe it's taking a step back. There are so many great practical things that you can apply to your marriage to help level the playing field in communication. And so that is our heart for you. That is what we are believing for you today. Hey, if you have not followed us on social media yet, go ahead and jump over to your favorite social media platform. Follow Greater Marriage. You'll see resources and clips there. We have resources on our website, as always, at greatermarriage.com. And if you need anything, please never hesitate to reach out. We are here for you. We are in your corner, and we are believing that your marriage will be greater tomorrow than it was today because you're willing to put in the work. So thanks so much for being here. We will see you next week. Go be great.